You wake up and you say, tomorrow. You look at your goals and you whisper soon. You look at your health, your family, your dreams, and you tell yourself, one more day won't matter. But let me tell you something in the spirit of Jim Rohn. You don't get extraordinary results from extraordinary days. You get them from ordinary days handled extraordinarily well. And the most powerful ordinary day you will ever be given is not next year. It is not next month. It is not even tomorrow. It is one more day. What does one more day mean to you? Is it just another square on the calendar? Just another sunrise you barely notice? Or is it a weapon, a gift, a final warning? You see, most people treat one more day like spare change. They spend it carelessly. They waste it unconsciously. They throw it away as if the supply is infinite. But time is not a salary. It is a countdown. And here is where it gets uncomfortable. If I told you that you had only one more day left, your behavior would change instantly. The excuses would evaporate. The procrastination would feel ridiculous. The ego would soften. The grudges would look small. The phone would lose its hypnotic power. So why does the illusion of many more days make you so weak? That's the question. Because there is a deeper, more dangerous truth we haven't touched yet. One more day is not about dying tomorrow. It is about living today as if it matters. Most people drift. They don't decide. They slide. They don't design their life. They react to it. They wake up to alarms they hate, rush into work they tolerate, scroll through lives they envy, and go to bed promising they'll get serious soon. Soon is the graveyard of ambition. The Stoics understood this long before we did. Marcus Aurelius wrote as if each day was borrowed. He didn't speak about centuries, he spoke about mornings. He spoke about the discipline of this hour, this conversation, this decision, because character is not built in decades. It is built in days. One more day is one more chance to become someone else. But here's what nobody tells you. You are already becoming someone. Every single day is shaping you. The question is not whether you are changing. The question is whether you are changing on purpose. One more day of discipline builds strength. One more day of laziness builds weakness. One more day of courage builds confidence. One more day of avoidance builds fear. Compounding works in both directions, and that is the quiet terror of one more day. You think missing one workout doesn't matter? You think skipping one page doesn't matter? You think one more hour of distraction doesn't matter? But life is not destroyed in dramatic explosions. It is eroded in silent moments. You don't lose your future in one decision. You lose it in 1,000 tiny ones. But there is something even more uncomfortable than that. What if one more day is not just a gift? What if it is a test? Because every sunrise asks you a question. Who are you going to be today? Not who do you want to be someday? Not who did you used to be? Who are you choosing to be right now? The world doesn't reward intentions. It rewards behavior, and behavior is decided daily. Look at the wealthy, look at the healthy, look at the fulfilled. They are not special because of one grand heroic act. They are special because of how they treat one more day. They squeeze it, they use it, they respect it, and most importantly, they fear wasting it. Not in a paranoid way, in a reverent way. You see, fear can be destructive, but there is a noble fear, the fear of regret, the fear of looking back and realizing you were capable of more. That fear is not your enemy, it is your compass. One more day means one more opportunity to correct your direction. If you are off course, you don't need a new year. You need a new day. If you are stuck, you don't need motivation from the outside. You need a decision from the inside. Jim Rohn used to say that your life does not get better by chance. It gets better by change. And change does not require dramatic speeches. It requires daily adjustments, tiny corrections, consistent effort, relentless standards. But here is the deeper, more dangerous truth we haven't touched yet. Most people don't fear death. They fear discomfort. And so they trade one more day of growth for one more day of comfort. They hit snooze, they postpone the conversation, they delay the project, they avoid the risk, and they tell themselves they'll start tomorrow. But tomorrow is built on today. If you cannot master one day, you cannot master a decade. One more day is your proving ground. You want confidence, earn it today. You want clarity, seek it today. You want progress, create it today. Confidence is not something you download. It is something you deposit day by day through kept promises. Every time you say you'll do something and you do it, you build trust with yourself. And self-trust is the foundation of power. But every time you say you'll do something and you don't, you weaken that foundation. One more day of broken promises is not neutral, it is corrosive. Think about your relationships. If someone broke a promise to you every day for a year, would you trust them? Of course not. And yet you break promises to yourself constantly and expect to feel strong. Strength is built in private. One more day means one more day to become a person you can respect. And respect is not about applause. It is about alignment. It is about your actions matching your words. It is about looking in the mirror without flinching. But let me take this even further. What if one more day is not just about productivity? What if it is about presence? We are so obsessed with achieving tomorrow that we forget to experience today. We rush through moments as if they are obstacles. We treat conversations like interruptions. We treat meals like fuel stops. We treat people like stepping stones. But if this were truly your last day, would you rush through it or would you taste it? One more day means one more chance to say what needs to be said, to forgive, to apologize, to express gratitude, to listen fully. And here is the painful irony. We wait for tragedy to wake us up. We wait for diagnosis. We wait for loss. We wait for crisis. But wisdom does not require catastrophe. It requires awareness. You don't need to lose everything to understand its value. You just need to imagine losing it. The Stoics practiced negative visualization not to become depressed, but to become grateful. They imagined the absence of what they loved so they could appreciate its presence. Imagine losing your health. Imagine losing your opportunity. Imagine losing your freedom. Suddenly, one more day looks sacred. But there is a deeper layer we haven't exposed yet. One more day is not just about addition. It is about subtraction. What will you subtract today? One more day without excuses. One more day without complaining. One more day without blaming. Most people think growth is about adding more skills, more habits, more goals, but often it is about removing what is unnecessary. Remove distraction, remove resentment, remove self-pity, and suddenly your day becomes powerful. Let me ask you something uncomfortable. If someone observed your last 30 days, would they predict a powerful future for you? Because the future is not a mystery, it is a pattern. Patterns are built daily. One more day of the same actions gives you the same results. If you don't like your trajectory, change your daily pattern. This is not dramatic, it is mathematical. And here is where most people fail. They underestimate the power of one day and overestimate the power of one breakthrough. They wait for the perfect idea, the perfect opportunity, the perfect mood. But greatness is not built on perfect days. It is built on imperfect days handled with discipline. Discipline is not punishment, it is self-respect in action. When you choose to work when you don't feel like it, you are telling yourself, my future matters more than my mood. That is power. When you choose to exercise when you are tired, you are telling yourself, my health is not negotiable. That is leadership. When you choose to read instead of scroll, to plan instead of drift, to create instead of consume, you are reclaiming your one more day. But there is a darker truth we haven't confronted yet. One more day can also mean one more day closer to the end. We avoid thinking about this. It feels heavy. It feels morbid. But it is clarifying. Your life is finite, not in theory, in reality. You don't know the number of days you have left. And that uncertainty is not a curse. It is a motivator. If you knew the exact date, you might panic. But because you don't know, you have the gift of urgency without the burden of certainty. Urgency sharpens you. It forces you to prioritize. It forces you to choose. It forces you to act. What if today was not random? What if it was assigned? What if you woke up this morning because you were trusted with one more day? How would you handle it? Would you waste it? Would you drift through it? Would you argue over trivialities? Would you shrink from opportunities? Or would you step into it with intention? But there is something even more subtle. One more day is not just about achievement. It is about identity. Who are you becoming with your days? You don't become confident by thinking about confidence. You become confident by acting courageously, repeatedly, daily. You don't become wise by wishing for wisdom. You become wise by reflecting daily, learning daily, adjusting daily. Your identity is not a label. It is a record of your repeated behavior. One more day of courage makes you braver. One more day of discipline makes you stronger. One more day of focus makes you sharper. And one more day of compromise makes you smaller. Life will test you quietly, not with dramatic music, not with flashing lights, but with ordinary moments. The alarm rings, the email arrives, the temptation appears, the opportunity whispers, and you decide. That decision, multiplied by days, becomes destiny. But here is the deeper, more dangerous truth we have avoided. You are not tired because life is hard. You are tired because you are divided. Half committed, half disciplined, half focused. Living in fragments is exhausting. When you give one more day your full attention, something shifts. Your energy aligns, your mind clears, your actions become deliberate. Clarity is not found in retreats alone. It is found in daily alignment. So let me challenge you. For the next 24 hours, treat this day as if it is both your last and your first. Your last, so you waste nothing. Your first, so you bring curiosity and courage. Speak carefully, work intentionally, love openly, learn aggressively, because there is a compounding effect most people never see until it is too late. Days turn into weeks, weeks turn into years, years turn into a life. And one day, there are no more one more days. That thought is not meant to scare you. It is meant to wake you. You don't need a dramatic transformation. You need a decisive day. Start with this one. Do the workout. Make the call, write the page, have the conversation, forgive the mistake. Set the boundary, take the risk. You are one day away from a different trajectory, not because everything changes overnight, but because direction changes in a moment. And direction sustained daily changes everything. But before you dismiss this as motivational poetry, understand this. Society is built on people who mastered their days. The entrepreneur who built the company did not do it in a weekend. He did it in years of one more day. The athlete who holds the trophy did not win in one match. She won in thousands of unseen days. The thinker who changed the world did not create impact in a single speech. He prepared in silent mornings. Greatness is quiet at first. It looks like repetition. It feels like monotony. It demands patience. And that is why most people never experience it. They get bored with one more day. They crave excitement over consistency. But consistency is the gateway to power. You don't need to feel inspired every day. You need to be committed every day. Inspiration comes and goes. Commitment stays. And here's the final layer of truth we must confront. One more day is not guaranteed. You are not owed tomorrow. You are not promised another sunrise. You are not entitled to more time. Time is a privilege, and privileges can be revoked. So the real question is not, what does one more day mean? The real question is, what will you do with it? Will you invest it or spend it? Will you build with it or bury it? Will you grow through it or glide through it? You are writing your biography in days, not in grand events, not in public moments, but in quiet choices. When this video ends, your day continues. And the power of this message is not in how it makes you feel right now. It is in what it makes you do next. Stand up differently, think differently, act differently. Not forever, just today. Master one day, and you build momentum. Build momentum, and you build confidence. Build confidence, and you build a life. And if you ever feel overwhelmed by the size of your dreams, shrink the timeline. Don't think about 10 years. Think about one day. Win the day. And then tomorrow win one more day. Because you are living as if you have time. And that is the most dangerous assumption you make every morning. Every day you wake up, you are either raising your standards or lowering them. There is no neutral. There is no pause. You are either tightening your discipline or loosening it. You are either sharpening your focus or dulling it. And the tragedy is this: Lowering your standards feels easier in the moment. You say, just today, you say, I deserve a break. You say, oh, it doesn't matter. But character is built exactly in those moments. Jim Rohn used to say that you must learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Why? Because your income rarely exceeds your personal development. And personal development does not happen in seminars alone. It happens in mornings when no one is watching. One more day of high standards reshapes your identity. One more day of low standards reshapes it too. And here is the deeper, more dangerous truth we haven't touched yet. Your future self is watching you. Not literally, but conceptually. The person you will become 5 years from now is being constructed by what you tolerate today. If you tolerate mediocrity today, your future will be average. If you tolerate laziness today, your future will be weak. If you tolerate excuses today, your future will be limited. But if you demand discipline today, your future will be powerful. Standards are invisible architects. You don't see them working, but they are always building something. Let me ask you something difficult. If today were a preview of the next 10 years of your life, would you be excited or afraid? Because most people are not building 10-year visions. They are repeating 10-year patterns. They wake up, they react, they distract themselves, they postpone, they sleep, and then they call it life. But life is not what happens to you. Life is what you allow daily. And this is where Stoicism becomes practical. You cannot control the market. You cannot control the weather. You cannot control other people. But you can control this day. You can control your response. You can control your effort. You can control your focus. One more day means one more opportunity to exercise control over what actually belongs to you. And control is power. Not control over others. Control over yourself. Self-mastery is the ultimate advantage in a distracted world. While others scroll, you study. While others complain, you build. While others hesitate, you execute, not because you are special, but because you understand the leverage of one day. Now let's confront something even more uncomfortable. Comfort is addictive, and one more day often becomes one more day of comfort. One more day of safe choices. One more day of avoiding difficult conversations. One more day of playing small so you don't risk embarrassment. But comfort is expensive. It charges you your growth. It charges you your courage. It charges you your potential. Growth, on the other hand, is uncomfortable. It stretches you. It exposes your weaknesses. It forces you to confront your limitations. And most people would rather protect their ego than expand their capacity. But there is a deeper, more dangerous truth we haven't confronted yet. The world does not reward your potential. It rewards your output. You may have talent, you may have ideas, you may have dreams, but if you don't translate them into daily action, they remain fantasies. One more day of thinking is not equal to one more day of doing. Execution separates the admired from the average. And execution is boring. It is repetition. It is structure. It is consistency. It is doing what needs to be done long after the excitement fades. That is why so few people rise. They are addicted to the spark, but allergic to the grind. But let me shift the lens again. What if one more day is not about proving yourself to the world? What if it is about proving something to yourself? You see, your confidence problem is not a talent problem. It is a memory problem. You remember every time you failed. You remember every time you quit. You remember every time you backed down. So your brain concludes, I am not disciplined. I am not consistent. I am not strong. But you can rewrite that narrative. How? With one more day of follow-through, one more day of keeping your word, one more day of finishing what you start, one more day of choosing long-term reward over short-term pleasure. Confidence is built like interest in a bank account. Small deposits, daily. Miss a few days, the account weakens. Stay consistent, it compounds. But here is something most people ignore. One more day also means one more day to face your fears. Fear does not disappear with time. It expands in avoidance. If there is a call you need to make it today. If there is a risk you need to take it today. If there is a truth you need to speak it today. Because fear shrinks when confronted and grows when postponed. And postponed fear becomes regret. Regret is heavy, heavier than failure, heavier than rejection, heavier than embarrassment. Failure teaches, rejection redirects, embarrassment humbles, but regret lingers. It whispers, what if? One more day is your shield against regret, not because you will always succeed, but because you will know you tried. And that knowledge changes how you walk through life. Now let me go even deeper. One more day is also about energy. Where are you investing your mental energy? In resentment? In gossip? In comparing yourself to others? Comparison is a thief. You measure your behind the scenes against someone else's highlight reel and conclude you are behind. But you don't see their daily grind. You only see their public victories. Focus on your lane. One more day of focused effort in your lane beats 10 days of distracted effort everywhere else. Clarity creates momentum. Momentum creates belief. Belief creates bold action. And bold action creates results. But there is a deeper, more dangerous truth we haven't uncovered yet. Discipline is freedom. Most people think discipline is restrictive. They think it limits spontaneity. They think it removes joy. But look closer. When you are disciplined with your money, you gain financial freedom. When you are disciplined with your body, you gain physical freedom. When you are disciplined with your time, you gain creative freedom. Indiscipline feels free in the moment. Eat what you want, spend what you want, do what you want. But eventually the bill arrives, and it is always larger than expected. One more day of discipline is not a prison. It is a brick in the foundation of your freedom. And here is something powerful. You don't need motivation to win one day. You need structure. Wake up at a fixed time, move your body, feed your mind, do the hardest task first. Reflect before you sleep. Simple, not easy, but simple. Complexity is often an excuse. People hide behind elaborate plans because they are afraid of simple execution. One more day does not require genius. It requires intention. And intention is decided before the day begins. Plan your day the night before. Decide your top priorities. Eliminate what doesn't matter. If you don't control your schedule, someone else will. And they will not prioritize your dreams. Now let me ask you something personal. Who depends on you? Your family, your team, your future children, your aging parents. One more day of growth is not just for you. It is for everyone connected to your name. Your discipline sets a standard. Your laziness sets one too. Leadership is not about titles. It is about example. An example is built daily. But there is a final, deeper truth we must face. You are not just managing days, you are shaping legacy. Legacy is not created at the end of life, it is created in ordinary Tuesdays, in quiet mornings, in unseen sacrifices. The world may never applaud your daily effort, but the results will speak. Health will speak. Wealth will speak. Wisdom will speak. Character will speak. And when you look back years from now, you won't remember random days. You will remember patterns. You will remember that you chose courage over comfort. You will remember that you chose discipline over distraction. You will remember that you treated one more day as sacred. So here's your challenge. For the next 24 hours, operate at a higher standard than usual, not dramatically, but deliberately. Stand taller, speak clearer, work deeper, think longer, love stronger. And when you finish the day, don't just collapse into sleep. Reflect. Ask yourself, did I waste it? Did I invest it? Did I grow? Because self-reflection turns experience into wisdom, and wisdom turns time into power. One more day is not small, it is a seed. Plant it carelessly and you get weeds. Plant it intentionally and you get a forest. You are holding a seed right now. This day, and what you do next will either confirm your old identity or begin constructing a new one.